Hello there. Last time we worked on raising Diagon Alley into the air to make way for an underground type Gringotts MOC, hopefully to add on to a real Gringotts set in the future. But in front of that we added our train line. Now, unlike the train line that goes across the bridge on our Leaky Cauldron MOC, this one has a bit of a height issue, but there's no worries there because it's actually for a London Underground system. And whilst that might be a bit complicated to understand the layout of the MOC, for today we're just going to work on making our underground station. Now, our main station layout is going to involve two 32 by 32 base plates because I want to run the train line into the tunnel and then from the front of the base plate to the back of the base plate, which will effectively put our entire station on an angle. Now, I've made MOCs for tube stations before, and here's a couple of clips of a previous one that's going to inspire most of this one. Now, this one's at an unfinished stage, but you can clearly see that the viewing angle is set from the front, so it's not an enclosed station. This new one will be slightly more enclosed, but by utilising the angle from front to back, we'll be able to get some of the amenities and the tunnels and the stairwells at the front of the MOC, as well as still being able to see a platform running through the centre. And if that makes no sense, here is the angle we're talking about, and here's how we're going to achieve it. So from the front left, the train track slides back to the back of the plate and then straightens out again in a mirror image of itself coming out of the station. I've then used the angular plates to straighten the whole thing back up on the front elevation, whilst also wedging the platform section of the station in the middle of the MOC. It means the platform section effectively just floats on tiles in the middle of a giant box. Here's the platform starting to take shape. It will have a platform both sides of the track, even though that's not completely to life. The strange viewing angle here is actually going to be the finished viewing angle of the platform section, so it would be as if we're peering into the box through a small viewing window. And because we're looking just through this single box at the platform section, we can actually take some liberties in the use of our parts and make sure that we're only fully decorating the sections that we'll be able to see through that window. So as you can see, the platform on this side of the track will never be seen fully, and therefore it's using multicoloured bricks just to have the same effect. It's of course plated properly and tiled properly on top, because that's the only part you will see from the angle. And then on the back of the platform section, we've got some more of those angular plates propped up on bricks, just to wedge that platform section inside the angle and keep it from moving around, especially once we start running trains through it. One problem with using an angled design means the tunnel entrances and exits to the station are probably actually a lot wider than they would be in real life to accommodate the turn of the train. But I think from our little viewing box, we won't actually see a full width tunnel, so we'll probably be getting away with that one. As we continue building up our platform on the far side, you'll see we're starting to get some tiles in place and working on the back wall. Now, the back wall structure is basically a lot of modified bricks, so studs on the side bricks that accommodate a plate, which we then build our wall off of. It's then tied in at the top with some more angular bricks, just so that it's all secure and sound. And here is the main platform really starting to come together. Some details like a bench going in there, some of our stickered pieces from that sticker pack that we got a couple of years ago. And it is kind of a shame because most of this will be boxed in and we will only ever see it through a small viewing window. But hopefully we'll get some lights in there and it'll still look impressive even though we only get a snapshot of it. Now, one of the main reasons we're building our station on an angle is to accommodate the space at the front of the base plate so that we can add some of the tunnels and the escalators that you see in real tube stations. I always find in my own experience of tube stations, they're a bit like rabbit warrens, so I really wanted to get some viewing of the tunnels that come out of the stations. Again, we're tiling plates to create our walls and then fixing them to the walls with modified bricks, with studs not on top. Next, I'm trying to build up the box of the station and work out the height and how to enclose it and put a lid on it all. Once it is all boxed in, it's probably going to be pretty dark, so I'm definitely going to have to work in some lights. So I'm creating a second skin where I can fix some clear bricks into the ceiling to fix our lights above, and then box in the entire MOC on top of that. You can see already how they're working as light wells, so we just need to pop some lights above there before we put a plate layer on top. Here you can see how we constructed the walls. Like I said, it's a plate fixed to the modified brick and then tiled, and using those curved pieces to transfer that tunnel feel into the ceiling. And because of that shallow viewing angle that we get either side, on this near side platform we're using the tiniest of panels just to give the effect that those walls continue both sides, but they really don't. Further down the tunnel we've done the same thing again, crossing over our curved sections to create a tunnel entrance, although if you were to look from the opposite side it looked very much unfinished. I've gone ahead and started to throw some minifigures into the station because I'm pretty concerned that once we do get the lid on, it's going to be quite difficult to get it back off again, just for the strength of the structure overall. So it's well worth populating it now because we might not be able to get in there. Back up top then, the superstructure is beginning, and we're using Technic beams across the top of most of it just to span the gaps where there's no upright support. Each end we're basically going to have a 16 by 32 plate, and that will transfer into the angle and out of the angle at each end of the station. And there we have it, the big grey box is complete. It's all contained, it's got a lid on it, and it's got some string lights running through the ceiling so that it glows down into the tunnel areas and into the main platform area. It now obviously needs a train, and I have already mocked up a first edition of the tube train, although it's not quite complete yet with all the correct parts and needs a little bit of design work. But here's a sneak peek anyway, and hopefully you like it, and we'll see you on the next one.